Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about owning your customer, the secret to Amazon success. And our guest today is the co-founder of Seller Tools. He's a friend of mine, got to know him over the last couple of years. And he has an all-in-one suite of, I believe it's more than a dozen Amazon tools. And he sold his flagship brand for more than seven figures. And he also has consulted with 8 and 9 figure brands on Amazon. The other thing you can do is he's got a community, a very successful community, a Facebook group called FBA Kings. So we're going to be talking to Troy Johnston shortly. But just before we get to that, we wanted to welcome and thank our sponsor, Z.co. So let's talk about Z for a second. So if you are a private label seller and you're looking to expand into a larger international market, Z can help. Z makes selling your Amazon products abroad easy with excellent import knowledge, door-to-door solutions, customer service, and scalability. That's right. You can sit back, enjoy lunch with Norm and with peace of mind of Z, and they'll handle the rest. How's that? I flubbed it. I'm sorry, Z, but they will handle it for you. Ready to expand your e-com empire? Then take advantage of Z.co. That's Z. I almost said it again. I'm from Toronto, ZEE.co. Or if you're from Toronto, the UK, ZEE.co. All right, where are you, Kels?
Hello. Happy Wednesday.
Happy.
Happy. We've got a great crew joining us in the comment section already. Welcome, Terry, all the way from North Carolina.
All right.
Marina, Simon. We have Manny from Germany. We got Rad, Twilight Action, Nathan, AMZ Elite, Dr. Cause. We got Jessica Rabbit from Miami. We got a great crew. And it's going to be a great episode and can't wait for it. Also want to remind everyone that the seller poll is happening right now. So if you want to give us a vote for your favorite podcast, go over to sellerpoll.com. I'm going to make a little banner link here. There it is. Go here, vote for the Lunch with Norm podcast. Let's get our Beard Nation together and get the word out. It'd be really appreciated. We'd really appreciate it.
Are you on your knees right now? Are you groveling?
I am begging. I'm
Oh,
no.
Oh.
But we also have a great giveaway today. It's going to be great. And if you're new to the show, we go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're usually fashionably late.
Fashionably.
Norm.
Fabulously late.
But that's 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We do giveaways every episode as well. So that's pretty exciting. And this is a chance where you can ask your questions and over in the comment section.
And this is slowly when Kelsey gets off the screen. Very good. He gets the message. It's subtle, but he gets the message. All right. So if you have any questions, throw it over into the comment section. And now sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the episode. Where are you, Troy?
Hey, Norm.
Nice to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too.
I think the last time I saw you was at a roadhouse in Florida.
Yep, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Mr. Kettner, his wife, you, me. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you guys, I think, had a long day that day, but it was good to see you.
Yes, it was. So for those of us who don't know you or what you do, can you just give us a brief explanation?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I was an Amazon seller myself, still am to a degree to this day, but started way back in late 15, early 16, building a brand in the beauty space. So I've always kind of gravitated towards these really fun, hyper competitive, very saturated space as a seller and a brand owner. But I think it's really served me to get to the point where I'm at today, because after selling my brand, did move on to consulting, advising for other brands, other folks
Mhm.
that were in my network, kind of seeking out, always looking for, hey, what's an edge? What can we be doing differently? What ranking strategies are working now? And through that, and again, back to my network, came in contact with my now partners, also just kind of a team of brand owners at Seller Tools. And so really what we aim to do, at Seller Tools is just kind of scratch our own itch. What do we want as brand owners that will give us an advantage? What kind of data do we want to see? What kind of optimization do we want to see? Or even automation. That's kind of like it's like a level up when you can use tools to really to be able to fill what you may need to hire for, or what will give you a competitive advantage. So that's what takes up all my time, effort, and energy now. And that's that's our vision. That's our goal with what we offer in the platform and Chrome extension, all that good stuff.
Right. And for those of us who don't know the platform name, it is Seller Tools. We talk about that on the podcast, when we're talking about interest, especially this one app. And I want to get to it later on because it does help. If you know, and I've said this a million times about Seller Tools, if you do one thing with Seller Tools, you've got this one option that can just make your life easy on Amazon. And that's basically telling you how many, what keyword, regardless of the search volume, should you go after or not. And I don't know of really any other tools that do that. And we'll talk about that more towards the end. Today, right now, I want to talk about what do you mean by owning the customer on Amazon?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And this is where sometimes we are working together with Amazon, but also sometimes cross purposes, right? Amazon sort of says, hey, there is only certain ways that you can engage with a customer. That kind of put some guardrails around what's available to you as a brand owner. But there's been these major recent updates where Amazon has sort of said, hey, external traffic matters. We have the brand referral program. We're looking at different ways of sort of rewarding you owning the what is considered the pre-purchase side of things, of engaging a customer, reaching them externally, bringing them into the Amazon ecosystem. And what we would aim to do when it comes to owning that customer is capture customer relevant information. And we can do that practically through landing pages. We can do that through something like ManyChat. The execution almost doesn't really matter. What matters is our objective is, how do we have continuity with that customer by owning the most relevant information that allows us to do that? Notably things like email, SMS for phone numbers for SMS, these outlets that allow us to engage a customer, to support a customer, and then also think about promotional activities. How can we reliably rank for our most important keywords, or when we add additional products? Hey, if we're starting from scratch, do we have a mechanism? Do we have an audience? Do we have customer ownership in such a way that we can reach out to them, facilitate that offer, that promotion, and be able to, reliably rank our products?
So you just mentioned reach out to the customer who Amazon owns. How do you do that without breaking TOS?
Yeah, this is the other part where, as a brand owner, you've kind of got to decide ultimately what your personal philosophy and then how that impacts your business, how okay you are with the interpretation of Amazon TOS. As it's stated, manipulating rank. Well, someone would say if you're optimizing your listing, you're probably going to rank better. Is that a manipulation? Is that a subjective? Are you optimizing in the same way that you optimize for Google SEO? And that's also left to interpretation. So if we just focus on, let's say, the pre-purchase side of things. So this is before somebody has even seen our product, our brand on Amazon. That leaves the door open for us to sort of say that's not an Amazon customer yet. That can be our customer, because again, we could drive them to our Shopify site, we can send them to our Walmart presence. That's not an Amazon customer. It's the post-purchase side of things where I think that conversation gets to be even more nuanced. But those are the different ways and almost the different buckets you sort of have to think about customer ownership is, am I paying to get in front and get visible to this customer to then have them go through, again, let's say our mini chat flow where first time they're seeing our product, first time they're seeing Amazon linked to our product. And so we're owning the customer before Amazon's really in the conversation. And there's a little bit more safety there, but obviously there's more investment. You may have to present that ad, pay for the ad. You have to monitor and optimize the performance there. So that's where it's a little bit of a nuance of thinking pre and post purchase, where pre-purchase, you're sort of in Amazon's TOS. Well, that's not even Amazon's customer. They haven't transacted. Post purchase, then you start thinking more about the execution, right? Because that is somebody who's bought on Amazon. They have, voted with their dollars. They bought your product via Amazon, Amazon.com. And now it's a question of, how are you treating that relationship? Are you leaving an outlet for them to further that conversation or that engagement with you? And we still like to do that, again, as brand owners, sellers ourselves, in terms of what we facilitate with seller tools. But in truth, I mean, the honest truth is, brands have to look at that and say, hey, what am I okay with? If I look and if I buy up a bunch of products on Amazon, I bought a Schiff, as an example, a Schiff fish oil. It's a company that does $150 million a year, and they have a loyalty program. They have a post-purchase product insert where they want me to take part, be part of some of their rewards program, effectively. Well, I'm starting to become their customer as a matter of furthering the engagement with their brand. But obviously they've decided, hey, that is worth part of extending and owning me as a customer by leaving that door open. So it's a nuanced conversation. I always try to lead with that too. It's not so black and white, but that's also the sandbox that we play in, the vague language that Amazon uses. And ultimately, as each individual brand owner sort of looks at that and says, okay, I'm okay with this. This is something that, I'm okay folding into my overall strategy.
Yeah, it's your risk tolerance.
Exactly.
Tim Jordan, Tim, we were on a Legion Live yesterday, and I think it was the night before he got a package in, and it had an insert card, right? And so he hit the QR code, and where did it go? To a landing page that said, leave a review, and if you don't like, it did exactly like Amazon, like 2017, right? If you did this, you were okay. November 2017, if you did this, you were dead in the water. No incentivized reviews. I'm not good with that. I'm very careful. I can ask for a review, no problem, but I've even stopped asking for reviews. I don't want to have that, line where they say you can do that. There's nothing wrong as long as it's on a level playing field. Ask all day long, no problem. Amazon asked for a review. I buy an Amazon Basics t-shirt. It'll ask you to leave a review. A lot of people think that's against TOS. It's not. Asking it to go to a specific link for the review, and then if you're not satisfied to go to a link, that's a problem. But that's just a tolerance that we've decided as a company, we're not even going to ask. We're going to let our listing do the speaking for us. We're going to let the customer journey, like when they receive our product, they're going to go, wow, because of the packaging or, whatever experience. If it shows up smashed and they leave a bad review, like we'll, try to make that right for them. But that's where we're going to get the good, bad, reviews. And hopefully it's more good than bad, but it's the quality of the product, and the listing. And we're finding that if we're letting it go, typically it's between around 4% if we're not doing anything to promote reviews, 4 to maybe 7%. And it's not more than that. And the other thing is, just hitting that request a review button on Amazon. That's just a generic, but I don't know if I know this is kind of going down a different rabbit hole, but on that note, do you have any thoughts on being able to get reviews onto the site without going out there and breaking TOS?
Exactly. Yeah. And Norm, you bring up a few great points, because this is, again, where the execution matters, right? Where in that example, where the clear incentivization we know it when we see it, as we've sold, and we can kind of say, hey, this is exactly what Amazon is against, is tit for tat. You do this, I'm going to give you, do X, I'm going to give you Y. We discourage that completely, and it's immensely problematic. When it comes to review capture strategies, and this again, my personal stance, and I've sort of arrived at this over time, as Amazon changes and effective strategies change too, is that the review request button, or if you can automate that button, that is the cleanest, widest, sort of purest way to request reviews. But what we would then aim to do is, if that's a Amazon branded email, and ideally, again, if we can automate that so we have as many eligible orders getting that review request, is we build as an example in our post-purchase strategy, a lot of follow-ups, a lot of ways in which we can engage that customer, give them an outlet, let's say, to mitigate negative reviews. As important as getting reviews is saying, hey, this is where we're reachable. This is how our support can engage you, support you, address your buying experience, make sure it's optimal. That's as equally as important as then also sending, as an example, one of our favorite and easiest strategies is a single text message that will go out right around the same time that you send out that TOS compliant review request. So what that allows us to do is, Amazon sending you the email will then text that customer and say, hey, we noticed Amazon sent you a request for feedback. Did you have a chance to do so? Now, that's not a request for review.
Yep.
That's not. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, where are you getting the phone number from?
So in our post-purchase flow, in the same example, let's say Tim's same example, where if he scans a QR code, now we like to use ManyChat. You can use a landing page as an example. What we like to do as a starting place for our post-purchase strategies is deliver some type of value. Mm-hmm. And that value really should be dialed into whether it's an offer or something unique to your product. So is that an ebook that has all the FAQs? If your product has a lot of different uses, a lot of different benefits, that ebook could be really powerful. Is a warranty or registration make sense for a product that maybe in that category, product quality is a big question. People want to see that you back it up with something tangible. Well, that registration could simply be name, email, and phone number. And hence, that's where we capture that phone number. Yes, retain that. We stand behind our warranty and registration, but we'll then also use that to time that just alongside. Because as we know, and this is kind of the beauty of SMS and text messages, is that you're getting 80, 90% open rates. And if you can do that with a really soft touch, that's a great way to not use any problematic language, to refer to essentially what's happening. Amazon has sent a request for feedback, and you're not using star ratings. You're not doing anything that is, it's all in the up and up, but you're tying in these really great open rates and the most effective communication channel with that TOS compliant review request. And that one text message alone can really, it can really impact. And we see this again across categories, a positive increase on the whole for review acquisition.
So I like to ask any of the listeners, have they used text messaging, SMS messaging, and what have your results been? I don't do it enough. And, we talked about it yesterday on the Legion Live that I did with Tim. And that was one of the ways to retain customers. Again, another rabbit hole today, but it's not. It is owning the customer. And one of the things that I mentioned was creating an SMS that will give a fact or one-line sentence, and you post something every day or once a week, but that allows you to get in front of the client. And with the SMS, at least the way that I mentioned it was, don't promote. This is just strictly a brand awareness tool. Have it where, because if you start to see promotions, you just might get blocked. But if it's tips, tricks, hacks, benefits, features, instructions, these are things that people will like, depending on the product. But I love what you said about that. Now, one of the things I forgot about is we do have a giveaway today. We got a great giveaway from Troy. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll kind of dovetail into this strategy as well. So we wanted to do something special where right now we're going to give away a month of our starter level plan, which really unlocks across those dozen features access to pretty much everything. So you'll have a chance to try out whether it's keywords, listing optimization, competitive analysis, our PPC tool, or our API if you're starting to look at some of these strategies, things like mini chat and automating some of the specific Amazon activities. But we wanted to offer that a full month free so you can really try everything out, see what works best for you and your business, but tap into pretty much a whole suite of tools.
Okay, and what's the value of that?
It's $117.
Very good. All right, so if you want to unleash and see these tools that Seller Tools offers, check it out. And even if you don't win the giveaway, check it out because they offer so many tools. And one of the things you and your partner are very good at automation.
Yeah.
You blow me away with, when we first started looking at Seller Tools, is you went a different route than a lot of other service providers in the niche. And automation was something that if you can automate something, it just saves time, it saves money, it saves everything. And you have those abilities. So it is unique. Seller.tools, check it out. And I don't have anything to do with it. I don't have an affiliate. I don't have anything. I know it's a good tool. I know that PR Reach uses the tool. So, it's great. Now, before we go any further too, I do want to give a quick shout out to Sellerize. And I did see somebody mention Sellerize here, but Sellerize is your comprehensive solution for your everyday business needs. It's everything you need to grow and scale your Amazon business, and it's just one click away. For more information, contact Dean and his team over at Sellerize.com, and that's Sellerize just with one R, Sellerize.com. Okay, so let's get back to something. Owning your clients. When I was prepping for this meeting, one of the things I was thinking about is pre-launch. A lot of people don't think about that. So the start to owning your business, like you started off right at the beginning, talking about getting exposure. Well, what better way than to either start spending a little bit of money on Facebook or doing some ads, Google ads. If you've got Google My Business, launch Google My Business, get your content up there, but get the buzz going. Write a really good press release. When I talk about really good, don't go for a social media press release. Go for a traditional press release where it costs a bit more money, but you're going to get better ranking. And with the distribution report that you'll see where you're ranking for, and then you can target that. But there's so many different outlets that you can go and get this pre-launch, which now if they drive traffic, and especially if you're driving pre-launch over to and announcing that you're launching this product onto your web page, you have this pop-up that comes up, and let's say it's maybe you're selling bully sticks, and so you've got your discount, but you also get a value added for free for your first order. Now you get their email or their phone number. Guess whose customer it is? And I love that. And we don't talk enough about it. We always talk, Amazon, and we've got our launch. Well, what the heck are you doing pre-launch? You're missing out on a ton of, possible sales. So let's talk a little bit about that pre-launch. Any suggestions of what you do or how you can set up your pre-launch?
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, when it comes to things like press releases, ways that you're already more visible through some of those types of activities, we really don't have to complicate it any more than, hey, if that's the way that you're doing your outreach, is there a mechanism in that process to capture customer information? There are a few other favorites that I really like. One that has been a tried and true, and recently is kind of getting shaken up with some of the privacy updates and some of the targeting is Facebook ads. And Facebook ads are really great where you can segment the targeting. You can take If you have existing audiences or you're starting from scratch, you can take some of the other resources, the segmentation that it allows you to utilize to sort of test what type of offers, or what offers are going to work best for starting to build that audience. Google Ads is another one. It's gotten to be very popular because we, of course, know how effective things like Google Links are. But Google Ads on both fronts are really great for just driving direct to purchase. So for just getting the rank benefit, but then also to build this audience. So to sort of invest in the longer term, sort of the equity of building that audience as an asset, you can also use Google Ads for. The other one I would throw in there, and this has starting to get even more prominence, is the use of influencers.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
it's a great, and this is very similar where the effectiveness of influencers, I think that has become more commonplace and better understood. But similarly, thinking about when you execute on that type of, if you've got an influencer who's excited and they're going to send 500, 1,000, 2,000 people to a landing page, or again a mini chat flow, think about again how you're trying to own that interaction, potentially owning that customer pre-purchase. You want to do that typically for the ranking benefit. You're owning however you're driving that in terms of performance. But also think about the list building. These are they could be new to brand, they could be new to your product. And that's just thinking about, okay, when I execute this, let me think about what meaningful information I can capture, add to my add to my Klaviyo, add to ManyChat, however I'm going to re-engage with that customer. In many cases, I see sellers gravitating to some of these strategies, the external traffic strategies, but just not thinking about the continuity. Just thinking, instead of, oh, this is a one-off promotion, I'm going to have these folks buy, purchase, but then I'm not thinking about, hey, I could actually have them come back a second time, a third time, a fourth time. They could inform product feedback. They could leave, they could inform, new product ideas, all from one opportunity. So oftentimes it's just thinking about what's the mechanism, what data is relevant to me, what tool maybe am I going to use to own that customer, and then build out those drip campaigns, build out those email sequences, follow up with that text message to where, and I think your point is really strong here too, Norm, you're just delivering value at some points too. You don't always have, it doesn't have to be, here's a 25% off or, a BOGO offer. Sure, you can sprinkle those in there, but when you're speaking to a customer, highly interested customer, an engaged customer, there's all kinds of relevant content, value you can deliver that goes beyond just the transaction.
Right. What about email? Are you doing anything with email campaigns once you get the email address? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, emails, it is sort of the tried and true, but often you'll see, unless you have a subject matter expert that's really helping you on the email side, you're looking at a little bit lower open rates. And that's where for us, especially as you have new signups, if you're building your subscriber list, think about potential virality or sharing, especially as you're building that initial seed list. Is there something that you can share with them that they would want to share in their, on their Facebook, on Instagram, other social outlets that can broaden the message? And you can take that one subscriber and maybe turn them into 3, have a nice exponential impact of, now that person's in market, is a buyer, is a customer you own, is there a quick win while you're top of mind to have them share, your message or your product?
Right. We had, and this just goes, it's worth every penny to pay somebody who's an expert in the field. So if I go and I create I'm not a copywriter. If I go and write an email campaign and I'm blasting it out there, I'm probably going to get very low open rates. Do you know Adrian Savage?
Name sounds familiar.
Oh, you got to meet him. Anyways, He was on this podcast and we thought we were doing really well with our email. Okay. We were getting a 20% open rate. And I thought, wow, this is really good. Kelsey's doing a great job. He comes on and we find out Kelsey's really not doing a good job. So no, Kelsey, you're doing a good job. So anyways, he just gave a couple of points on the podcast. We took those points from the podcast, and now we've got it up. This is no kidding. This is brand new. I've mentioned this to any of the listeners. They're going to see this is higher. It's up to 60% open right now.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
we think that's incredible. And this is just taking a few pointers from a guy that was on the podcast that I went, I had no idea you can do that. And then the copy, that's a whole other thing. It's the same copy that we're using, or like it's the same style and format that we're using. But all we did is just change the system around a little bit, and no longer 20. I don't even know the last time we saw 20%. It went up to 40. Now it's at 60. And I'm expecting, he was telling us after the podcast that, you could probably target 60 to 80% open rate. Now those rates are, 80% is something I'm hearing from ManyChat, or the text messages, not from email. And like, this is old school marketing, and he's just killing it. And the other thing is, I talked about Google for a second, Google My Business, but ranking on Google with content. If you can put out high quality content and not just put it onto your website, so you publish it on your website, Google's going to pick it up. It's education and knowledge based. You're not promoting a lot. You're just, quality. You've got to be the best blog out there. But then you syndicate it. Nobody syndicates their stuff. Like, if I take a look at it, get it bloody syndicated, and you're going to just kill it on a bunch of keywords as long as it's quality. And that's another way of just owning your client, right? You're going to be able to, or customer, you're going to be able to drive people over from Google searches. And that's another way of owning your client. I keep saying client. Customer, because you are the authority. Right. If you are the authority in something, you will own that customer, whether it's on Amazon, off Amazon, wherever. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Thinking about it on both sides. Again, pre-purchase is, if that's the first exposure, that type of content, that type of value helps to reinforce your trust and authority. And the same goes post-purchase, right? Where if a customer, many of us, I'm an Amazon buyer, a shopper. I'm sure you are as well, Norm. It's like you start to compare some of your buying experiences. Well, that product, that buying experience that has a way for me to get even more value, unexpected value post-purchase through the packaging, through the insert, where it clearly conveys how I get that value. That can really level up, maybe not as much on the authority, but it can just embolden and really elevate the buying experience.
Right. And just to let everybody know that we will be getting to the questions in probably about another 10 minutes or so. So just hold on. We're not avoiding the questions. We'll answer them in a sec. Let's talk about some of the big no-nos. What have you experienced?
Yeah, when it comes to this it's so timely because we have been shaken up a lot of Amazon changes. We're here in Q4, and there has been a lot that we have seen. Whether it is what we're talking for the brand referral program, the perspective that we can read into that, Amazon, how they're treating external traffic, what that implies. So I mean, we have to drive that external traffic. Everything we've touched on is a means with which we can do that. But as a negative, but something to keep it in mind as a seller, is we have seen Amazon treat the quality of the buyer, how that impacts a brand has become more and more of a focal point, whether it's the ranking impact, or for those that maybe have seen some of the notices that Amazon has sent out, they've sort of said as much, that they are diminishing product visibility based on some of the review activity. Well, what are the variables that are linked to reviews, right? It's a customer leaving a review. Well, the review is a pretty benign thing. It's the customer that's the most important variable in that equation. And so when it comes to, and this sort of is a no-no, it's almost more how you can think about how to own the customer, but then start thinking about this type of reality that Amazon's sort of alluding to, and how you can treat it for potentially kind of cleaning up your list. We've touched on phone numbers. Phone numbers are a great way. It's a high confidence metric to know. When I get a phone number and I see, okay, that's Norm, I can clearly understand, hey, this is probably the phone number he's had for 10 years. He's not giving me a fake email where this is just, there's no follow-up or potential follow-up for you as a customer. And so there's different things that we are doing with that information, with buyer quality on the seller tool side, and us as individual sellers, to sort of use that information to make sure, are we supporting a customer that Amazon sees makes regular purchase activity, maybe isn't drawn too much to promotion, prone to returns and cancellations, has a regular review activity, and make sure that we know as brand owners, but also as seller tools, informing our customers. So that's a really, really big and important point. But the other really big no-nos, and we touched on this, is a lot of the things that we know are the landmines, right? It's the incentivization. It is the leaving hey, in that mini chat flow, I'm giving a customer, you can pick 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, where I'm sort of implying, I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to give you a review link, a direct link to leave a review on my product until you tell me what your intention is of the quality of your review. So those are the big landmines to avoid, and really just part of the execution, where as I genuinely feel, that review request, that Amazon email is really the cleanest, best way. It's the olive branch that Amazon has extended to us to say, hey, here's a way in which you can use our system, because I can't customize the messaging. I can't alter that email. So all of us as sellers and brand owners get the same exact message, same exact email. It just changes our product title and then the image, but it stays static and exactly the same. And we just use that and build some resources around it, build some engagement, whether it's outlets, whether it's, very subtle reminders, and really put that at the height. And then understanding as you go further down, it's more incentivization you want to stay away from, and other type of landmines where, and we see this again a lot, Norm, where a lot of people say, hey, oh, you run post-purchase strategies, so you must be on the incentivization end of the spectrum. And it's like, no, we actually want to open the door, deliver that ebook, deliver that founder video, confirm a warranty or registration, send a free product sample, accessory as part of the purchase. But then we let Amazon do the heavy lifting on the review request, and then we just tie in that nice and subtle text message as an example to make sure that there's no no-nos in there. We're just creating a really great buying experience. Let Amazon ask for the review, and then just do a nice soft touch on the backside of that.
I'd like to add one point to that. And you might not really think about it, but it's when somebody leaves you or has a problem. I've seen some sellers that go very defensive. Instead of absorbing it and trying to spin it into a positive, they spit back and, they become defensive. When you're dealing with a lot of clients, or you know what, if I say clients one more time, just... all right, I'll get Kelsey to finish the podcast, which will probably be much better. But anyways, dealing with customer service is just a whole other way of owning that customer. And we've been talked about this at the beginning of the podcast, but being able to control that, being able to check your ego at the door, and also when you receive these types of issues that come up, well, I think we kind of joined Amazon around the same time, but we were always told to give back more. So either don't ask any questions, get them a refund. And, the course I went through originally, which is probably the same one ASM, back in the day, they always said, refund plus 20%. So if you can give more, give it, and you'll see that you'll turn around that customer. But, the other thing too is take the information that they have, and if there's a problem with your product, look at it. Are other reviews coming in with that issue, and change it? Don't think that somebody that gives you your first 1 star is just really kicking you between the legs because that's what they do. It must be a competitor posting it. it's probably a real person that has an issue that, take it. And a lot of the times the 1 stars are not where you get the value. It's the 3 stars. 3 stars are people that are level-headed, that are, okay, I liked it, but they could improve it doing it this way. 1 star could be just somebody that's irate because it was 2 days late.
Right.
Anyways, I don't know if you handle your customers that way. I almost said it again, but your customers that way. But if you have anything to add to that, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, no, I probably even overlook that not so small benefit, is that you have that outlet to, and you don't want that type of feedback. If you can avoid it living on your listing forever in the review, you definitely want to capture it and then make and pull some of those insights that come out of getting that feedback in real time. And I would agree with you too, as you kind of, maybe in the 2 to 4 star range, or 2 to 3 stars, those are typically people giving you more of the pros and cons. This is why it's great, but this is what I wish. Like it's a little bit more of a rounded out opinion. But this is really, almost like a safety valve. This is a way in which if a customer buys, they scan our QR code, they see what value we're offering, and then instantly they can just send a quick message and say, hey, I'd really love it if, or, can you help me with X? Is it a product where they need to know how to use it? They need to know how long to wait to receive the results, or additional information, or links that you can send them. You can send them back to that press release or blog content, relevant information that's built out, that's really ready for them to consume, to empower them and make sure that, like I said, the negative review mitigation is a big part of it, but then also just getting feedback from your customers. This is somebody who's gone through, voted with their dollars, have invested in and trying out, attempting to have a great buying experience with you. And that's just a way in which they can open up that communication. But as a matter of fact, you're also owning them too. It kind of brings it back to the larger point.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. All right. One last question before we get to the questions. Let's talk about low-hanging fruit and where to start to build that VIP list or owning the client.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I think, in my opinion, the post-purchase side is usually what is either overlooked, or there's a bit of a fear to rolling out a post-purchase strategy. Because again, we see the worst examples, and that can often just hang around in our minds. We see the incentivization, we see the examples that Amazon makes of it. And as we look at it, we're like, okay, yeah, that's not what we want either. We wouldn't want our customers, our competitors up to that kind of stuff. We would much rather deliver immediate value instantly to our customer and be able to open up that door for further engagement. So usually the low-hanging fruit is if you can get your hands on it, and this is somewhat of a shameless plug, is that we have free mini chat flows that help with this. But in that post-purchase strategy is figuring out what is relevant and empowering to your customer. We've touched on content, warranty registrations, free products. Think of some of those buckets that may make the most sense for your product and your typical customer avatar, and deliver that value. And all that you need to do is kind of sync up. This is a bit of a buyer psychology, where syncing up the means with which you're delivering that value. So we use ManyChat for this because it's a really kind of elegant solution where we can send them, let's say, that ebook, and then as we're doing that, if not right before it, we'll request the customer's relevant information, because of course we can send it to their email, or can we also send it to you via SMS. That value exchange, and at that point in time, creates a far less cold interaction. If you just say, hey, give us your information, and there's nothing really happening here. Instead, if we're delivering value and requesting value, there's a really great exchange that's taking place there. And that already opens up the door to future interactions. What we like to do, and we've touched on this in terms of the review request, is we may then wait 5, 6, 7 days, again, depending on our product. When is the customer going to get the greatest benefit and the most utility from our product and buying experience? Sending that review request and then adding in the SMS. If that was the entirety of your post-purchase flow, you have a really soft touch, fully automated, TOS compliant, delivering more value to your customer that you are effectively owning through that simple transaction. Doesn't really need to be more than that. When you see these, and we have these, we've built out very massive, very long many chat flows that have multiple steps and this entire sequence and this really long journey for a customer. But if you think of it simply as value exchange and information gathering, well-timed review requests, and a text message, those sort of 4 key steps can be more than enough to give you, again, a better buying experience, that negative review mitigation, that positive review potential of leading with the review itself. And then you have powerful things like SMS. You've opened up that communication channel as well.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be complicated.
Nope.
Right.
Not at all.
Okay. So just one last time, the Wheel of Kelsey today is a great giveaway. It's one free month of Seller.Tools Chrome extension, which is it's $117. You get access to all their tools, and anyways, you'll see how fantastic it is if you win. If you don't, check it out, because they do offer a lot of things that other services don't necessarily offer. Okay, so let's get into some questions. Oh, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people. If you've never listened to the podcast before, it's just hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. If you tag 2 people, you'll also get a second entry. There we go. Let's get into some questions, Kels.
All right, let's see. The first one is a very important question from Dr. Cause. Hey, Troy, what type of mic are you using?
Oh,
You
that
sound
is
good.
the most important. That is, yeah.
That is the important stuff. It is. It is. Let's see. I believe it's the Audio Technica. I always forget the model. It's the AT2020. It's the USB mic.
And is that a pop filter on there as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I've been through a number, and I have a closet full of rejects, but this is the one that made it through.
Awesome. All right, our first question from Jessica Rabbit. What is your suggested priority list of capturing customers' info least likely to offend Amazon's TOS?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the post-purchase strategy, and where I sort of set that spectrum up, is if you want to lead with, again, content, FAQs, and ebook, some way of giving more value to that customer, and there's nothing perceivably close to any sort of incentivization. Mention reviews, feedback, request or ask from that customer. All you're doing is saying, would you like this piece of content that can make your buying experience better? And again, really cater that to the nuances of your product. That's a really safe and easy way to capture that customer's information.
Okay.
Okay, great. Our next question is from Manny. Just a second. All right. Manny asks, sounds like the strategy, the launch pre-work, etc., works for consumable products. What if it's a product that customers buy only once?
Yeah, I would say it does work, even if it's a one-time purchase product. In many cases, I would actually say that this is more important, right? Because if we weigh the alternatives, right? Let's say you don't have a customer list. The litmus test, the question I always ask, and this is a great way of knowing if you have a valuable list, is, can I reliably rank my products, right? If in the next week you needed to rank your products, well, if I have a list and I can tell them the product, the offer, and however I'd like for them to purchase, optimized link, Google link, or otherwise, I'm going to have an advantage for that new purchase relative to the person, the seller that doesn't have that active and engaged community. There are a few other tweaks that, like I said, we sort of touched on briefly, of having your customers share and refer others at the point of contact. So when you're still top of mind as a brand and as a product, trying to grow your list exponentially is another great way of getting new purchases, of having you potentially penetrate other communities, other buying groups, and other potential customers, to where, again, usually word of mouth is the strongest, that's the strongest form of advertising and marketing. So we want to tie that into this strategy as well. The other thing I will note is that the quality of your list is as important as the quantity of customers. My business partner, Brendan, you would be surprised how small his list is. He constantly cleans it out, constantly does an auditing to see who's actively engaged, who's moving and purchasing. and continually focusing on the quality side of things. We often think, oh, well, I need a 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 person list. Well, if you have a highly engaged community that's ready to buy, that's excited by your products, and is potentially kind of washed out, kind of cleaned up every once in a while to where it is a really solid list, that's another great way of making sure that for that litmus test, can I reliably launch my products? Well, that list is a really great way for you to be able to facilitate that.
That is what Adrian was saying. Just it's quality, and sometimes you get worried that you might have 10,000 people on that list, and most of them don't engage, and you're worried about that. Oh, I'm going to miss out on 5,000 of them. You're not going to miss out. It goes to spam. They probably, because they're not interacting, it's probably hurting if you're sending out an email campaign rather than helping. So, get a quality list rather than a quantity. Quantity
Right.
is not nothing when it comes to marketing.
Yep, that's spot on.
Excuse me.
All right. Our next question is from Jeff. Jeff asks, what is the single best way to maintain contact with your customers?
Yeah, there's a few different strategies for this. And, Facebook groups are a great way of, if you can actively manage and cultivate a community, it's a great way to kind of get them in one place, share relevant content, have them share different feedback. Obviously, it's an interactive way. The trade-off there, sort of the downside, is that you have to make sure you truly do then maintain. That comes with the territory of, if you have those customers in one place, well, they can be highly active. They can be communicating regularly. They may want to see more offers. They may want to see plenty of value. But if that makes sense for your audience and your product, that's a really great way of centralizing them. The other ways that we're talking about communicating with them, I think are really great ways to supplement. Norm has done a great job of touching on email and finding and seeking out resources for that. And then regularly sending out text messages is another great way to go as well. I know many brand owners are kind of intimidated by text messages. I think we see how powerful it is. So we think, oh, it's got to be this big built out thing. But I even like that cadence, monthly, bi-weekly, of just checking in, delivering some form of value to that list. It can be a great way of also keeping them engaged.
It's funny with like pop-ups. Okay. When you go to a website and you see a pop-up, it can be annoying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk to, our like clients that come over, they'll say, well, it's annoying, but it works. Like, how many times have you gone over and, you have an upsell, downsell, cross sell, and all of a sudden you're walking out of there, instead of $30, you're doing a $100 order, similar to SMS. Is
Right.
that annoying? Could it be? Possibly, but it works. So give it a shot. It's not about you. It's about, the customer. And as long as there's a value added. And the other thing I wanted to say, it's not only having your own group, but if you could add value to other niche groups, that'll help too, because you'll look like you're the go-to person, and they'll come back and like your page or start building your community as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I should add, and this is the sandbox we always play in. ManyChat is really great for this too, where because it's a multi communication channel, we can email customers, we can text them, we can use Facebook Messenger. It is really one of my preferred ways of capturing that customer information. You can automate the entirety of the customer journey. You can use one-time notifications. You can send those text messages. You can actually send emails natively in ManyChat. So that's another great way to go. And exactly to your point, Norm, I mean, that's where you almost want to think about where my mind goes is when we bring it back to influencer as well. You can use whatever your call to action is or wherever you're directing them to. Thinking about building that trust and highlighting that authority is a focal point. Whether that is a Facebook group or you have your ManyChat flow that highlights, hey, here's some accolades we have, or rewards we received, or recognition, or user generated content. Some way of humanizing but then elevating your brand. Again, specific to your product. I always mention that is it's really thinking about your product and customer, but delivering on that. How can they build that trust if they've never heard or seen you before? Build that authority, and then facilitate what happens next.
Right.
Okay, and if you guys are enjoying this episode, send us some love, give us those thumbs up, smash those like buttons, and we'd really appreciate it. Yeah, we're getting tons of questions, so I think Troy, people are loving you. I also just want to just remind people, if you are interested in joining Lunch with Norm as soon as we go live, make sure you hit that little notification bell when we're watching Facebook and YouTube. It helps you get those alerts right away when we do go live, so you don't miss it, even if we're fashionably late. All right,
It's all
next
Kelsey's
question.
fault.
From Jessica Rabbit, what is Troy's background before Amazon and e-commerce? He's so well thought out on this topic, solving issues with real world efficient solutions. Magical.
Wow. First of all, it's very nice to hear, and thank you for saying that.
I paid
Yeah.
her 20.
Yeah. Thanks, Norm.
Yeah, no
Thanks,
problem.
Norm. I was going to say she must be a client, but no. Thank you. No, but seriously, thank you, Jessica. That's very sweet and nice to hear. Yeah, my background is more in project management. What I used to do way back when, I actually got started in traditional marketing. So I used to do project management for TV commercials and radio and different traditional creative, and then did project management for digital marketing companies after that. So websites, SEO, that type of thing. So always had a project management background in my history.
Okay, from Rad, there is a negative comment about our product that is not that it is not charging. How can we send the customer information and advise the customer that they have to remove the plastic coating on the solar panel to get better charging?
So is this an existing review that the customer has left?
So Rad, let us know in the comment section, and we'll get back to you. And we'll answer a question in between. From Tony, many of my products have low star reviews, upvoted to the top. Is there anything that can be done?
Yeah, review voting. So helpfulness of reviews. This can be it can be done. Now, if you have an active following, if you have customers that are part of your list, obviously there are ways that you can encourage their support on your Amazon listing. This is, again, where you have to decide what you're comfortable asking your customers to do, or potential customers, depending on where they're at in the journey. And you have to think about it. The helpfulness, Amazon really set that up to be organic, right? They want their customers to sort of say, hey, this is a really helpful review for me. So we're brought back to I don't want to say risk tolerance, but it's what you're okay with. That's the system that Amazon has set up. Do your customers, is that something you're comfortable asking your customers to do? There is also, and Norm, you probably know this, there's different services and providers that will help you with this. And that's probably getting to be less gray and more black, because you're using or altering Amazon's system, which is meant to, again, be driven by their customers or prospective customers. So since we're talking about owning your customer, I have to mention that's a possibility. Mm-hmm. But you want to think about it again in that context too.
Right. And like on that note, be careful, because if somebody had gone ahead and just upvoted, and let's say you have 50 upvotes on something negative, and all of a sudden you come back with 240 the next day, I think that's going to leave somewhat of a footprint.
Yeah, the execution would really have to, and this, it almost brings it back to some of the ranking factors, is you don't always want to send Amazon this A to B signal, right? And that means when you execute or on that request, or you're sending customers to purchase on your product detail page, you don't want to send them through the same link or the same search, find, buy process. All of that starts to raise flags for Amazon. So for that point in particular, you would have to be able to control that customer engagement to a point where it's not your example, Norm, 50 to 240 all of a sudden in a 24-hour time span. That starts to raise some flags.
And with ManyChat, you could kind of field that, right? If you're sending out some information and you can kind of get a feel of what the person thought about the product, you can and I don't want to give the wrong information, but you can field whether they're a good fit for a review.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
you absolutely can. Yeah, you can create a, you could create a condition.
Yeah.
You could even show them a picture of what you're asking them to do of, would you mind? Hey, thank you for your support. If you found this review helpful. And again, as brand owners, you just have to decide what you're comfortable with. But ManyChat is great for this because we have a whole journey. We can tag a customer, create a condition. We can even randomize. So we have certain sets of customer going to specific steps. What's really cool about that, because that starts to sound complex, is that what I'm seeing more and more, and I think sellers should sort of think about this, is that some amount of complexity is where it's the safest. And by that, I mean that same point of, if you're just doing A to B strategies, if it's heavily templatized and you're doing the same thing over and over again, that's really when that anxiety should rise up. Like, wait, am I on Amazon's radar? Am I doing detectable activity that's easily, identifiable through bots and AI and all the things that Amazon has at their disposal to create those correlations and then send you the notices we don't like to see.
Right.
So we just have 2 more questions.
Yep.
So the one from Rad, he did answer yes, it is an existing review.
Gotcha. When it comes to existing reviews, there really isn't much that we can do. If we have that customer who's come through a post-purchase flow or pre-purchase, I should mention that as well, then we have outlets. This is really where having them go through a sequence of events that we own, it gives us the ability to re-engage and support this customer, providing that immediate refund, acting like Amazon. This is sort of like how they treat customers and be that customer centric. So unfortunately, there's really not as much that we can do with existing customers with the reviews that are left. Norm, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
there's there's one thing. If you can go into that review and you can see who left it, and then you can trace it back if they left a real name. If you can go and find that order, and I haven't done this in a long time, but this is the way that we used to do it. A lot of the times the profile would be wrong, but if we could at least get that information, we could try to find the order and then send them out a message. It is not against terms of service to contact your customer and say, I think you have to put, I think it's square, important, or urgent. Or I think it's important, square bracket, and then, put the subject matter in, and then let them know that if they're doing something wrong, like with Rad's solar panel thing, he can reach out to the customer and let that be known. And that's not against terms of service, but you have to find out who left the review. Now, the other thing you can do on this is you can make it really like just black and white on the listing. You can show, even in your video, the person taking off the information, putting it into your A+ content. When you send it out to the person, you can have stop before you do anything. You need to do these 4 things, that gets the person's attention, and that could cut down. Or if it is a ManyChat flow, it will tell them you have to do these 4 things to get the optimal experience, But
yeah,
that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, and that's important. Just would add to that too. If you send them through ManyChat, because it's media rich, a video can be helpful, an ebook. What is the best way to convey that? Maybe that big stop sign, and then watch this video to find out how best to open or utilize your product.
Okay, and our last question is from Simon. Would you drive your audience traffic to your website opposed to marketplaces?
Yeah, it's a good question. The short answer is it really does depend. So what are my objectives when I start to build that audience? Typically, I'm utilizing them to send back to Amazon. I see a greater benefit or impact if I drive external traffic to Amazon. But what are some cases where we may be able to send them to our website? Well, having reviews, social proof on our website can be really important. Running different promotional campaigns through our website. They're typically more time sensitive with a clear objective. But on the whole, I tend to like to send my customers to Amazon because I see a greater external traffic benefit. But those are some of the things that you may want to think about. If you want to send them to your Shopify, or your WordPress site to transact with them there.
Okay, so that's it for questions, and I think it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
All right, just a second. I gotta find this comment
Troy's
now.
never seen this.
No, let's see
Oh,
it.
okay. I'm just building some suspense. I just gotta get rid of this comment. There we go. All right, it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey. Here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
There we go.
Man, that was intense.
What now? Okay, there it is. All right.
Yeah, that is courtesy of my older brother Hayden, who created the song and music, or the graphics. So shout out Hayden Farrar, thank you. All right, so this is for the 1 month of Seller Tools. Thank you everyone who entered today. If you are the winner, just please email me k@lunchwithnorm.com. And here we go. So especially you YouTubers, I cannot contact you, so you have to contact me. All right, our winner looks like, is it Rad?
Oh, perfect. That
Nice.
works out really great. Rad was asking all the questions about his products, and so this is going to be great. I know Rad's products; they're awesome, and I know your tools and your apps will help him out. So, Rad, congrats on that. One of the other things I want to just discuss very quickly. It's Seller Tools. Like, what do you get with Seller Tools? What are the different apps or the tools within it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the tools within Seller Tools? How's that?
There you go. Yeah, really what we aim to do. So if you come to us as a seller, what we want to help you do is first and foremost, get the optimization strategy done right. You sync your account with us. We see your product. We're going to take you through a process of running a reverse ASIN on your top competitors. We're going to be able to then take that reverse ASIN data and use some really unique data. Some of the things that you touched on, Norm, where we display brand analytics data. We show at the keyword level estimated unit sales, estimated purchase rate even, so estimated conversions that are realized for that keyword. So you can start to see, hey, how is this keyword actually performing? As well as, again, that brand analytics data is super insightful. So we can take those powerful keywords and then bring them over to our listing manager. And the tool itself actually walks you through this flow. It's a 5-step process of product, competitors, keywords. And then at that 4-step, we take you through the listing manager. So we know, based on things like brand analytics, what are the most highly sought after, relevant, because we run a reverse ASIN search, keywords that you can plug into your listing. The listing manager will actually let you take those higher priority keywords, include in your listing, removing them as you're adding them into your title, subject matter, bullet points, and really building out what is going to be your organic presence and your optimized listing on Amazon. And then lastly, we will take you to launch readiness. What do you want to do now that you have a fully optimized listing to effectively launch it? And that's where we can take you into some of our ManyChat pre and post purchase free ManyChat flows. Last launch was just our launch platform, but we make the optimization step very seamless and very straightforward. When you get into that launch step is when we start talking about things like automation. How do we take a very robust ManyChat flow and have you put in 4 or 5 pieces of information to where all you have to do is give a customer a link or give them a QR code, and we can take them through the entirety of that journey. And then we have some tools that are built around that as well. We've got alerts that you can configure, product and account level alerts. We have our own PPC tool. We have our own digital wallet. So if you run promotions, discounts, if you run rebate campaigns, we can automate that type of activity. And then we offer just a ton of free stuff too. You mentioned our free Chrome extension. It now has 4 or 5 really big, unique features. Our keyword expander. We have our listing quality score. That's probably what I'd highlight the most. It's come up more, and we've sort of intentionally highlighted this for aggregators who are looking at how optimized is a listing. Is it leaving enough room for them to potentially improve? So what's working well, what's under optimized? And we look at 33 different variables, from keywords to media to conversion readiness, to really drill down. It's actually a score out of 1,000 how optimized a listing is. And then we've got a handful of other features. We touched on the review request. I have to mention that because we have two different ways that you can use that. In the way that we touched on it for ManyChat, where you can trigger sending out that TOS compliant review request. Really simple and easy to set up in ManyChat. But we also have a dashboard within the app where if you enable it, if you didn't do anything else, if you just click that enable button, every single eligible order that Amazon deems eligible will receive that review request. Customer will receive it right in their inbox, Amazon branded and everything. And then all you have to do from there is just watch the requests being sent out over time. So we cover a lot of ground, but those are kind of the three areas: unique data, making optimization easy. And then once you have that foundation, it's how do you start automating? How do you run this really small team? Brendan, we touched on him. He runs a 4 or 5 person team, and they're looking to sell their 8-figure brand. They're just doing a pretty large scale given how small their team is, but they rely on tools to be able to facilitate all that activity.
Very good. All right. So if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned our group, our Facebook group, FBA Kings. It's a really great and supportive community. Would love to see and engage with you there. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or the Seller Tools team at hello@seller.tools. More than happy to answer any questions, support you with use of the tools, Chrome extension or otherwise. But those are probably the two best ways to find us. And then we're on all the socials, LinkedIn, our Facebook page, Instagram, and others.
Okay, very good. All right, Troy. So I'm going to, after this call, I'm going to be asking you to join our Patreon group for some training as well. I think everybody's been talking about, how great your skills are and the way that you present. So I'm not going to back into the corner, but I am going to ask that you help us out with that with some training. But hey, it was a pleasure having you on. Can't wait to break bread with you, sometime in the future. And say hi to your partner for me.
Will do. Good seeing you, Norm. Thanks so much.
All right. See you later, Troy.
Thanks.
Okay, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Friday, we've got the man, the myth, Kevin King coming on. We're just going to be talking about fourth quarter, what's happening, all the new and exciting things that are happening. It's a love-hate relationship, I tell you, over at Amazon. But we're going to get into it. There's a lot of things that have happened. You've probably seen some emails that have been happening, some news articles, press releases, also some really cool things that Amazon's doing. So Kevin's going to be on Friday. Can't wait. And also I want to give a shout out to Global Wired Advisors. They're a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business sales process. For more information, visit globalwiredadvisors.com. Mr. Kelsey.
Hello. Another great episode for the books. Thank you guys for joining the Lunch with Norm podcast. As Norm mentioned, we do have a Patreon program. So that is like our membership area where you can have small group sessions with me and Norm. I handle the social media sessions, and then Norm handles all the rest. But we also have guest lessons. So we've had Ben Leonard on. We're just setting up our guest for this month. But Amy Weiss has been on. We've got a ton, Alpha Lobby. So these are like private lessons.
And it's not a podcast.
Yeah. This is actual, you can come with
actionable
questions and
steps.
We give you answers. So if you're interested, go over to lunchwithnorm.com and click on the membership area, and that'll take you there. Also, don't forget, totally free, our Facebook group. It's a lovely place for our Beard Nation here. So that's just Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. Join the group, hang out with us, and it'd be great to get to know you. And I think that's about it. If you haven't yet, please smash those like buttons. Kevin King episode is on Friday. So that's a big episode. You can RSVP on the group, on the page as well, so you don't forget. And I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
That's it.
That's it. We made it nice and simple. All right, everybody. Just a note, if you are around and if you are in Miami, and by the way, if you want to, I don't even know if we ended up with somebody grabbing that free ticket, but if you are in Miami, November the 2nd, I'm going to be speaking. Tim's going to be speaking at the Amazon powwow in Miami, and we've got a ticket. Just contact us, and we'll be able to give that to you for the main event. So I know also Michelle Harris is going to be there. She's our senior manager over at our media department. So she's going to be there, and it's going to be fun. Anyways, we'll see you there. And that's it for me. So tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, noon Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget, to, what am I trying to say? Hit those likes, do whatever. You told me to say some stuff. Anyways, it's the end of the day for me, almost. Yeah, it is. I'm going crazy. I worked late. I think I got to bed at around 4 last night. And anyways, thanks everybody for watching the episode. We couldn't do this without you. We've got this huge, great community, and we just love it. We love the interaction. We love the engagement, and have a great day.
Lunch with the